Okay, so once again, looking at prom. Now, I'm not sure what the theme for prom is, but just about every time they do it, they do some sort of silhouettes in the background. So, prom silhouette. That is not spelled correctly. Okay, anyway, barring the fact that that's not spelled correctly, let's go ahead and look at how we could do silhouettes. Now, there are all sorts of artistic people out there, and like I said, I'm not entirely sure what type of theme we're going for. So let's say I wanted to do a silhouette of mountains. I would use probably plywood of some sort to come up with a jagged peak arrangement. And depending on how tall I want it or how long, I might use multiple sheets. So for instance, we might have a base sheet, and then a top sheet. This would give it a space of at least 4 foot and 4 foot, so grand total of 8 foot. And each sheet of plywood is 8 foot long. So let's say we cut off this bit to right here. So we'd have, right now looking at 16. So we have 18 feet, or 8 feet here and 8 feet here, for a grand total of 16 feet. So we could do really big mountains using this general idea of having some base sheets and some top sheets. Now, of course, we can't just nail a couple of sheets of plywood together and edge on edge like this and hope for it to stay together. That won't work. So what we really need to do is look at the back. This is boring. Let's take a look at what this would look like from the back. And we'll go to this. So on the back, what we'd want to do is have some sort of support structure. This is one of the ways that building this for prom would be superior to buying a similar thing from a catalog. Is that it can be a lot stronger and a lot safer and a lot sturdier and a lot easier to set up. So here I've got a setup. I've got 2x4s or 2x3s would probably work. You could probably even get by with 2x2s. And probably something similar over here. So lumber, 2x2, 2x3, 2x4. We could get 2x6s and cut in half. So here are a couple different options for lumber to make this out of. Probably 1/2 inch ply. We might also be able to find something along the lines of even 1/4 inch MDF. There are a variety of cheap sheet goods out there that could be used. We might even be able to find some foam board for even cheaper and just attach it to a structure like this. Foam board would have an advantage of you could actually give it a little bit of texture if you happen to have a hot knife, which is something that can be made pretty easily. So we have something like this. Let's take a close look at the nailing pattern for this because that might be more interesting. We could do something like this. Let's see. So if this is our vertical piece, we have our horizontal piece dodging behind it. Hidden lines there. and coming out. And then we could take our diagonal and come across here like this and send that behind this piece. And in front of this piece. So everything would be working against itself to come up with a nice stability, stable thing there. We could do a situation like this, where we've mitered our support piece at a nice 45-degree angle and driven nails into it like that. And then we could come down here and across, and this bottom piece would still be at the back side of both pieces now. That would be a doable thing. So all sorts of different ways of building this. My recommendation, think about the type of silhouettes you want and what type of sheet goods they would require. Remember that plywood and most other sheet goods come in 4 by 8 foot sections. And so depending on how you cut it and how you shape it, you can get multiple silhouettes if they're smaller, like for people, out of a single sheet of plywood. Or if you want something big and scenic, like a mountainscape or a cityscape, then you might need multiple sheets of plywood for a single structure. That's okay. And then a backer piece like this, triangles are really nice. In fact, you usually don't want a perfect 90 degrees here. What you really go for is like an 85 degrees, maybe even 80 degrees. And that way it's got a slight bit of back tilt. And what that does is it moves the center of gravity of this structure back onto the structure a little bit, so it isn't as likely to tip this way. Anyway, so there are some ideas for prom silhouettes, once I figure out how to spell that word. And here are the basic ideas. Come up with a few that you like, and let's see what you can do. Once again, this is Mr. Hilbert. I hope you have a great day. Go ahead and like and subscribe over here, and watch more videos over here.